Happy Friday, everybody. I hope you have something nice planned for the weekend or maybe some relaxation ahead of you. And I hope everybody, as always, is staying healthy during this ongoing pandemic. In today's reflection, I'd actually like to discuss yesterday's gospel because I preached on it at the Mass at St. Joseph's, and it's a gospel that I've heard preached on many, many times. And a similar homily seems to always come out of this gospel. And so rather than reinventing the wheel, I'm sort of just going to take some of those homilies I've heard in the past and try to condense them here for you a little bit. And the story is the first call narrative in Luke's gospel. And I think we know this. This is the one where Jesus is preaching. And he comes to the seashore and he goes out in Peter's boat and he tells them, "Cast your nets into deeper water." And Peter argues, "We've been fishing all night. You're telling us to go back out." They were mending their nets already. "You're telling us to go back out, but on your command we'll do so." They lower their nets into deeper water, and of course the great catch of fish, the return to shore, and Peter prostrates in front of Jesus, acknowledging him as Lord, and says, "Depart from me, for I am a sinful man." And what a beautiful story. What I love about these gospel stories so much is they really happened. I believe that this gospel story actually happened because oral transmission was so powerful back then, because that's how they relied on stories to be passed down, that when it finally got into the lap, so to speak, of Luke and he began to write this down, these stories were probably much more accurate than sometimes we think they were. But there's also always a spiritual element to them, and that's why we can read them in so many different ways. And I can't imagine, as Luke's recording this gospel, and he's hearing the oral tradition being handed down, and he's trying to put pen to paper and record this gospel, that he didn't find this challenge to cast into, quote, deeper waters something important for the story. I'm sure he could have left it out. Would it have made that much a difference? I don't know. But I'm sure Luke thought, no, I think I need to leave that in because there's a spiritual meaning there as well. And what's the spiritual meaning? Well, the disciples were at it, as I said, all night, and they knew what they were doing. They were better fishermen than Jesus was. They knew how to read the lake, I'm sure. They knew what bait to use at what times. They knew the seasons, how to read the water, temperatures of the water, and all these things. They knew what they were doing. They knew when to fish, and they knew how to fish. It was simply a bad night. And so they were done until the next time. They knew what they were doing. But on the risk of listening to Jesus, they go out and they cast out one more time into deeper waters. Jesus says, "Give it one more shot, but go deeper." Now, what does that mean to us? Well, how many of us right now, and especially, we bring this up all the time, but let's face it, it's the reality we live in. How many of us now, during this pandemic, during this crisis, during these crazy, chaotic times, politically speaking, globally speaking, I mean, it's just nuts right now, find our spiritual lives suffering? Find that we're missing something in our spiritual lives. Find our spiritual lives to be dull and mundane. Find that we hear every Sunday about this encounter with Jesus Christ, but yet we haven't had an encounter with him in quite some time. Or about this God who loves us so very much, but we can't seem to see God in our lives. Well, the simple challenge from Luke's gospel today is go deeper. Put down the same old routine, try something new. I know we all have prayer lives and hopefully some sort of spiritual routine. Allow it to be shaken up again. Go deeper into those parts of ourselves that we haven't examined in a while. Those parts of ourselves that we haven't shared with God in quite some time, and realize that that's where the encounter with Jesus Christ takes place as much as it does anywhere else. There's an old adage in the spiritual life that's been recorded by many spiritual writers. I'm not even sure who the first one to say it was, but God is always closer to us than we are to ourselves. So if you want to encounter Jesus Christ, go deeper into the depths of your own heart. Go deeper into your own lives and your own worries, your own pains, all those things that you carry around that you don't reveal to anybody else. I talk about this a lot. Put down the facade. I'm not talking about the worldly version of yourself. I'm not talking about your career, what you do for a living, those things you're great at, your talents. I'm talking about the very depths of your soul. The longings deep inside of you that haven't been acknowledged in so long. Seek there. Come to terms with your true humanity. And there, again maybe, in a fresh and brand new way, you will encounter Jesus Christ. So the day in, day out spiritual life hasn't been working lately? Go deeper. Your life of prayer hasn't been fulfilling you like it should, go deeper. You haven't encountered Jesus Christ in quite some time, go deeper. You haven't experienced this living God in quite some time, go deeper. And I'll simply add this at the end. The deeper I go into my own self, the deeper I encounter my humanity, and therefore the incarnate Jesus Christ, the more likely and more willing I am to go deeper into those around me and form friendships and community that I never realized could existed. I go deeper into myself. That gives me a willingness to go deeper into the lives of my children, into the lives of my spouse, into the lives of my friends, to open up in ways that I could never imagine. This is how the encounter with Jesus Christ begins to take place. We share ourselves with God. Eventually we have the courage to share ourselves with others, and community ensues. This relationship occurs all because we had the courage to cast out one more time and to go deeper into our own selves, seeking Jesus Christ. As I said at the beginning, I hope you have an amazing weekend. I hope you take this weekend to go deeper sometime. And I look forward to seeing you all very soon. And we all here are looking forward to some sort of return to normal. Whatever that looks like and whatever that may be. Our masses continue to air online for those who don't come to church or are uncomfortable coming to church. And of course, our Sunday masses continue as always. May God's love be with you always. Take care and God bless.